Love, light, and blessings. Shamanic Priestess here. I'm making a video today, and I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I think it's gonna be like a mix mosh of things. So, yeah. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna have a very busy work week. So I figured I might as well make it now that I have downtime. Everybody in the house is sleeping. It's late at night. I had a great day off today because Sunday is my day off. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about some things. So first and foremost, I wanted to talk about... So one of my beautiful subscribers and clients gave me a beautiful message. They know who they are, so I didn't ask permission to say their name, but I'm just going to say what they did for me and respecting their privacy. That they felt in their heart that I needed to learn how to accept gifts, because I give so much to other people. You sometimes, and that's the thing that I do struggle with. That's actually legit. I have struggled with acceptance of compliments and giving and receiving gifts. I'm very easy to give everything to everybody else, but it's harder for me to accept. I'm drinking coffee. It's not really tea, but yes, I shouldn't be drinking coffee at night, but we're gonna move on from that. And it has Funfetti creamer. It's so good. I've been sending. I was gonna go to the store the other day, but my oldest daughter was like, "I'm home, and I don't really like you going out because, you know, of the asthma and things like that. So let me go. So she went for me, and she got me Funfetti, and I was like, Funfetti creamer, seriously? But it's actually really, really good. So she got me some Funfetti. I don't like the lighting in here. Hold on one second. Yeah, I think we're good now. Okay. We're gonna move on to what I was trying to say. So so she got me Funfetti creamer, and it's really good, so I'm drinking that right now. But anyways, so my client was like, you need to learn how to receive, and they asked me if I had an Amazon wish list, and I said I don't. This is how bad I am, that I don't even have a wish list, because I'm one of those people that literally gives everything to everybody else but doesn't take things. You know what I mean? That she doesn't accept things. She doesn't take anything from anybody. She's always like, no, it's okay. Or people compliment me, I don't know how to respond to it, you know? But I'm so used to giving people compliments. I'm so used to giving people things, right? So she put money into my PayPal and said, buy whatever you want for your birthday. So I did. And instead of buying things for everybody else, I actually treated myself to some self-care. And it got me to thinking about, you know, that message that the client said, you know, basically, sometimes as parents, as women, I can't talk about male experiences, I'm not a male, people see us as nurturers and caregivers and all these kinds of things. And I'm not saying every woman's a mother. There are women that don't have children. So I'm just talking about my experience as a mother, as a woman. Like I said, I'm so used to giving things to other people. It was really hard for me to go into Amazon and order something that was for myself. But I finally did it because it took me like days to figure out what I was going to get for myself. They're not spiritual tools. They're not anything like, they're actually things for myself. And it got me really thinking about self-care and about the things that I've learned on the spiritual journey, right? As a mother, I can't be a good and effective parent if I can't take care of myself and love myself and do things for myself. You know, yes, as much as I love my children, I can't give everything to them to the point where it depletes me. I did that when I was married, both times. You know, I gave everything to the relationship, but I lost myself in it, you know? And when I started my spiritual practice, same thing happened. I gave so much to my clients and talking to them outside of work time, and it just became this thing where I didn't even have a personal life, and things like that, which is going to be a topic of another video I'm going to do. So we'll talk about that more later. This is more in the guise of self-care, and I wanted to show you guys that and some decks that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to keep this video to that topic. So I got myself 4 glass bottles because I like to use spiritual colognes for protection. So I got that, and I'm going to show you which spiritual colognes I decided to pick to put on that. And I got myself some really nice teas that have medicinal uses, just because in this quarantine I've been really reflecting, and I really do need to start putting more time into self-love and self-care and just really taking care of myself so I can deal with the distance learning and the demand that the kids being home is having on me, while still making time for myself. You know, I didn't know what to do today. Like, I was trying to find every excuse to work today, and I was like, no, you're not going to work today. You can answer some emails and stuff, but that's all you're going to do. You're not going to sit here and write anything for classes. You're not going to do none of that. You're going to just do what you have to do. Yesterday I cleaned the house. Today I finished up some things, but I also rested and things like that. So yeah, so I use a lot of holy water in my practice, and I got this from Amazon. This is not from the birthday package. This is just what I've been having, but it's an honorable mention of, like, it's not a spiritual cologne, but I do like to wear a lot of holy water when I go out, and I use it a lot in my practice for purification. Like, I love holy water. So I put in one of the bottles, my youngest put the labels on it, bay rum. It's because I do love the smell of bay rum. The bay rum reminds me of my grandmother. She always had bay rum in her ancestral white altar. So, and then Florida water. Like, I use Florida water for everything. For when I'm starting a ritual, when I'm ending a ritual, to purify myself, to anoint myself, to spiritually cleanse things, to spiritually cleanse the home. Like, I use Florida a lot. I even bathe with Florida water, okay? And Hierba Buena, the good herb. This will be the 3rd bottle that came in the pack, and I use this a lot for purification and connecting me with, like, earth spirits and healing spirits that work with herbs and things like that, and rue when I want to have that ancestral connection and things like that. And I use all these in different types when I go out and stuff, and I'm out in the world. I like to have one of these 5 on my person when I go out. So I got myself some teas. So I got myself some Yasmin green tea, because again, I'm trying not to go into the supermarket. So I was like, I'm going to order some teas that I'm not finding in the stores right now that Amazon had. And I also bought 2 packages of Eyebright. So I wanted to tell that client, thank you so much. I actually took the money you gave me and bought things for myself. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And so they really brought the message home about self-care, you know, taking care of myself. So when you guys book my services, I'm giving you the best readings, the best spell work, the best classes, the best workshops, and things like that. Taking a day off to rejuvenate and replenish myself is okay, because that makes me just a better overall human person and mother, and just so I can ethically give you guys services. Because if I don't take time like this out for myself and for self-care and for, like, you know, just relaxing and stuff like that, I'm not going to give you accurate readings. I'm not going to get you the results you want. I'm not going to be ethical, because I'm not giving you guys my 100% all. And that's very important to me. You know, I want to give you guys the best services that you guys can get, you know. So yeah, so that was something that I really was thinking about this weekend. And I just thank this person so much for thinking of me and giving me money on my account, and making me think. Like, it took me so many days to actually pick something. It's ridiculous. But they made me think. I do have a hard time sometimes just outside of spiritual things, because that's for my business. But this is actually for myself. That's so different, right? So it took me so long to even pick that. Like, I was like, wow, I really don't know how to just treat myself sometimes outside of spiritual things. You know what I mean? So, because yes, I can use this for spiritual things, yeah. But it also has medicinal uses, right? And me taking care of myself is better for all of us, you know? So yeah, so I just wanted to share that. And then I wanted to talk about My working decks, the decks that I have a collection of decks, but there are certain decks that when I'm doing professional readings for you guys, they're the ones that I use. Okay, so Rider-Waite-Smith, any version of Rider-Waite-Smith is the decks that I use for reading my clients. Okay, this happens to be my favorite at the moment. I think I'm a lefty, so this is hard for me. So this is like my working deck for the moment. I want to do that whole like this thing that people do on YouTube. I don't know. It feels weird. It feels weird. Okay. There you go. I don't know. Yeah, it's beautiful. Like it's beautiful. I can't do that. I'm gonna do it like this. This is how I do it. Okay, so this is like my favorite art style of the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's her original artwork with her like her handwriting in it, but it has the best coloration. It's clean. This is linen cardstock. So I've been using this deck for the month of April for professional readings, and then at the end of the month I'm gonna rotate it out for another deck. But yeah, so this is like my working deck, one of my working decks, so I like that one. And then another deck that I use all the time too, that I talk about all the time, you guys probably sick of me, is the Hanson Roberts. And I use this deck all the time. Okay, to the point where I had to finally replace my original copy. But yeah, they just give me, they're the decks I'm most connected to and I get the best readings out of. So I like to use them for client reads. And that's the Hanson Roberts. Beautiful backs. And I love it that it's so tiny. Like I love how tiny it is. So cute. But yeah, so these are the decks that I use for doing my professional readings and things like that. Another one is the fabulous Morgan Greer, which you guys saw me get a new copy of because the old copies were pretty the old copy was pretty worn out. So, and I love this Ace of Cups. Yeah. So that's the Morgan Greer. Like if I'm gonna do a reading, I would do a professional reading, I would use this deck as well. Ooh. And these are the beautiful backs. So this is a newer copy of my Morgan Greer because my original one was pretty worn out. But yeah. So that's another working deck that I have. Oopsies. And another working deck that I have. When I do professional readings that I love to read with, is my Wheel of the Year Tarot. One of my subscribers asked me about it. This is the Wheel of the Year Tarot. I had taken a picture of it when I put it on my community wall. I was doing a reading and I took a picture of it. I do that sometimes. It was a reading for myself and I had posted it on my community post and they were like, what is that deck? And I was like, it's the Wheel of the Year. I've always said it for many years, my soul deck. It actually made me fall in love with tarot. But yeah, so the Wheel of the Year is another deck that I love this Four of Swords. But this isn't, okay, one more. I love this Five of Swords, and this has to be my favorite Seven of Swords. This imagery completely just tells you the whole story. He's looking at her, she's looking at him, and there's the oblivious lady who's just loving on her man. So, doesn't get more treacherous than that. But yeah, I love this deck. So it's good. It's the Wheel of the Year Tarot. So this is another one of my, and these are the gorgeous bags. I just love the coloration of this deck too. It's so bright. So the reason why I rotate my working decks is because I like to work with them seasonally. Like certain seasons I'm more drawn to work with brighter colors. Other seasons I like working with muted colors, and so on and so forth. And I like to change around my decks, give me something new, different to look at, because I do read a lot. Most of my tarot practice is reading for other people, so I like to keep it fresh. You know, I don't want to just always look at the same deck or whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but I just like to change it up. And then the last but not least is the Thelema Tarot. And this is another one of my working decks when I'm doing professional readings, because I have decks that I have for study purposes. I have decks that I have for working for myself when I want to read for myself, and those tend to be my most precious, in the sense of it's not so much that I can't read my clients with them, that these are more practical. These give me quicker answers. I've been working with them longer, so they're quicker to deliver the messages for me. And so that's why I choose these, because when you guys are paying me for a paid session, I want to make sure I'm giving you guys the answers quickly, effectively. I want to work with tools that I'm the most connected with, so I can clearly understand the messages that my spirits are channeling through me. And so that's why there are certain decks that I use for reading clients with, and they're decks that I only use to read clients with. I have decks that are separate that I use for myself. I have decks that are these working decks are sacred, but the good thing about them is I'm most connected to them, and they're easier to replace if something happens to them, because they're my most highly used decks, and things like that. And then the other ones are the ones, like I said, that it takes me longer to get the message. I can meditate on artwork. I'm not going to do that when I'm reading you guys. Like, you're not paying me to meditate on artwork. You're paying me to give you answers to questions. So for those more like artsy decks, or like I don't know how to explain it, like the ones that are just spiritually based, that is just like I only really use them for like really spiritual questions, not really yes and no, everyday questions and things like that. I have decks like that that I use to work for myself. Now those decks I also use for specific readings that I have created on my shop, and things like that, you know. But yeah, so there's a difference. Like for me personally, like these are the decks, like if you book a reading with me, like a psychic reading with me, this will be the decks that I'll do the readings with. But I also do past life readings with these decks. I do angel readings with these decks. Like I do all types of readings with this deck. And one honorable mention that I wanted to mention, it's a newer deck that I've been using, is the Cleo Tarot Power Pack deck. Like I use that deck a lot too. I'm gonna pause the video real quick and show you that one, and then I'm gonna show you the only oracle that I really use for my readings. I'm gonna show you that as well. Oh, that's scary. Okay, so when I was talking about when I have those like spiritual based readings, like past life readings, spirit court readings, spiritual investigative readings, when I have those types of readings and things like that, or even angel readings, I tend to use the Cleo one. This is why I started all those other readings, because this deck just started really speaking to me, but it told me what it wanted me to use it for. And so this is a deck that I use for very highly spiritual questions. I don't know why this deck is just such a high vibrancy for me. So this is the deck that I use for those types of questions. I just have this very high vibrational connection to it. And yeah, so this is a working deck for me now as well. It has become a deck that I have stopped using for myself and have dedicated it to the spirits. All my decks have a ceremony that I do to them, that I dedicate to spirits. It's a cultural practice. Like, we dedicate divinatory tools to spirits. We believe that the decks or the spiritual tools actually house spirits. So the spirits that use me, that work with me to give the messages and enhance my abilities, every one of these tools are dedicated to those spirits. That's why I don't use them for myself. They're literally just for, not just for, but they're for you guys. These decks are your guys' decks that I use for yours. They're like the other decks that you have, those you use for yourself. The Hoodoo Tarot I use for myself, with my spirits, for myself, for my spiritual growth. But these are the ones that I use for answering your guys' questions. And this deck wants to be used to answer your guys' spiritual questions. This is a deck I use for the energetic forecast reading. So for the specialized readings, this is the deck that I use. And let me tell you, I've gotten amazing readings from these. You can read my testimonials and then people that have read with me, that watch my channel, like, those readings, people cry sometimes. They're so highly emotional. And this beautiful deck is like, the spirit that's housed in this deck gives me the most amazing readings. It's not the decks itself, it's the tools that the spirits prefer to be used for their messages. And the spirit that works in this, that lives in this desk, that's housed in this desk, just tends to love this tool. This is my main oracle deck that I do client reads with. I ended up messing up my original copy, and then I stopped using it for years. And then about, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I bought another copy, and I haven't stopped using it since then. Like, this deck has never went back in the box, and this deck has never stopped being used. So I do use this occasionally in my readings, like a 1-card pull or something like that, if I'm drawn to do so. But I also use this a lot in my angel readings. This just feels angels to me. I mean, there are angels in here. But yeah, I get beautiful angel messages from this deck. So yeah, this deck really does speak to me. It's just has a beautiful balance of both light and shadow and all that kind of stuff. So and that's the energy oracle cards. So yeah, so these are my working decks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 decks. Those are the decks that I used to do professional readings with on various different topics and things like that. Every other deck is for personal use. So I just thought I would share that. And I also wanted to share something else. So the reason why I never participated in things like, and it's fine if other people do, it's nothing personal against you, like, oh, these decks are good for beginners, whatever. I don't believe there's any deck that's good for beginners. I feel like you should use whatever deck calls to you. Not everyone has to do right away. Not everyone has to follow the right away system. There's so many other systems. There's Thoth. There's casting shells, there's cartomancy. I've had people that went through my classes and have admitted to me how they struggle with tarot itself, and then they feel bad because these beginner decks are the ones they struggle with. And I'm like, tarot is not for everyone. It depends what spirits you have that wants to enhance your gifts. So when they go through my class, one of my students, we were doing a lecture, and she had a reading with me, and she found out that her spirit likes to cast coins and loves playing cards. And once she started doing that, they put their tarot decks away and they read cartomancy. It just, the meanings and everything came naturally to them. When they studied the subject, it's just like when I did tarot after I was kind of not walking away, but kind of emerging into other forms. That's how tarot was with me. I got my first Rider-Waite-Smith. I read through the white book and I was able to do readings, and I didn't struggle with learning it. And I could read more complex decks and stuff, but these are the systems that speak to me. So I don't care if people consider them beginner decks. I don't care if people consider them old-fashioned and old. This is what speaks to me the most through my spirits when it comes to working and doing readings for other people. And I'm okay with that. You know, we all have to be individuals and do our own thing, and never let anybody tell you what's the right and wrong way to do something. You know what I mean? A lot of people will see this and say, oh, this is so gitchy. Like, really, Miss Cleo, you know, but I don't care. Like, this deck speaks to me. I've had readings with this deck where I've cried. I've given readings with this deck that other people have cried, because it's not about this piece of paper cardboard. It's about the connection that you have with it, what kind of energy you get from it, you know. And in my case, like, what types of messages the spirits want to use these tools for, to give me messages, and things like that. So you have to find the form of divination that works for you. You don't have to have 1,000 decks. You don't, unless you like to collect decks, and that's fine. But there's some people that feel like they have to do that. And so tarot might not be for you. Maybe your calling is cartomancy or Lenormand or Kipper. You know, there's so many different types, or Romani cards. Like, there's so many different types of divination. Or maybe Oracle is your thing, you know, or maybe all of it. You know what I mean? So maybe your calling is reading the Diligum, reading, you know what I mean? Maybe that's your form of divination. Like, maybe your form of divination is channeling. I know so many psychics that don't use anything. I know so many psychics that's the only deck they ever owned. You know what I mean? I had one deck that I read professionally with myself, like, for years, and never had anybody complain about it. Gave wonderful readings and all this kinds of stuff. So it doesn't matter. Use the tools that speak to you. Use the form of divination that speaks to you. I've done many of readings where it's not even about these things. I have used nothing. You know what I mean? And messages have come through. I can use a deck of playing cards because my spirit's like that, and I like that, and that does something for me. And that gives me, like, hits and makes the messages flow and things like that. I think sometimes people put so much pressure on themselves because people are making it seem like you have to start off with tarot and it has to be Rider-Waite-Smith or a clone of Rider-Waite-Smith, and you have to learn that system, and you have to, this is the only deck you can use because you're starting out. Your first deck could be Ojo Zen. Your first deck could be the Hoodoo Tarot. Like, if it speaks to you, then don't let anybody tell you what your first deck should be, how you what is a beginner deck, what isn't a beginner deck. Maybe the Marielle is your beginner deck. Like, you don't know. Like, everybody is their own person. So for me personally, like, I don't know, like I said, it's nothing against anybody else. I never watched the beginner decks videos, only because, like, I just don't agree with it. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those people, just because I don't agree with something, I'm not going to put comments on somebody's video. That's so annoying. I don't like people do it to me. I just, videos that, like, I'm like, I just watch other stuff on that person's channel. You know what I mean? So I'm one of those kind of people. Because, I don't know, it's a very sensitive subject for me, because I feel like I've talked to people that kind of don't even want to watch YouTube videos because they're like, why did they make it seem like Rider-Waite-Smith is so elementary school? Like, the word beginner sounds kind of rude. You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean that the person making that is doing it with those intentions, but it does make people feel bad when they've only used one deck their whole life, and they're badass readers too. Like, they can really tell you your whole life. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if this is the only deck you ever use. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if this is the only deck and you get the best messages and everybody likes your stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, these are just tools. Like, use the tools that are best for you. That's my public announcement of, to me, a beginner deck is whatever the hell you want to use, and whatever the spirits and sparks those messages. It helps you to connect to spirit or deity or whatever it is that you channel when you do your readings. That is a beginner deck. Whatever you're called to use. My daughter literally reads Mexican Loteria cards, and she's a badass psychic. So it doesn't matter what you use. It matters the power behind the person using the tools. And I see magic in that way too. You can have all the fancy candles in the world, but if you don't have the power to back it up, it doesn't mean nothing. And that's like a lot that I teach my students. It's not just about the tools. It's what is the power within the practitioner. And the same thing goes for readers and psychics. What is the tools that you're using because everybody else is using it, and then you're putting pressure to learn a system that doesn't call to you, and then you're like, oh, I just don't feel like my readings are accurate. So then put that tool away and go with the tools that speak to you. I know somebody on YouTube that she told me she would read Lenormand like intuitively, and that was a big hoopla because she wasn't doing it by the book. Who cares? Like, she's getting psychic messages. She's giving amazing readings. Who cares? So do what makes you happy. Like, that's it. Point blank, period. So like I said, I don't mind people giving tips on, these are the beginner decks, but don't feel like you have to listen to it, the person who's watching. You don't have to listen to that. That's their opinion. This is my opinion. You don't have to listen to mine either. Maybe this video will trigger people too. That it is life, But anyways, if you want to work on a one-on-one basis, you can go to my website, shamanic-priestess.com. And you could literally get a psychic. I'm very hyper because I'm having coffee. Sorry. You can literally get a psychic reading from me. Yum. I really do like the Funfetti creamer. You can get a psychic reading from me. Spiritual healing. I do have one workshop left, the paranormal workshop. And which is kind of like helping you with your mediumship if you're someone who can actually talk to spirits on the other side. And that's a 3-week course, and it's still on my shop. There's still some availability for that. And yeah, if you want me to do spiritual work for you, just have to get a consultation and we'll go from there. So and also I have specialized readings, spiritual investigations, angel reading, energy readings, past life readings, all that beautiful stuff. And then your psychic readings, time sessions as well. Okay, so much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and until the next video. And my bangs are crazy, I know, but we're just gonna ignore the bangs right now. All right, guys, bye.